the top stories, historic full attendance marks 50th CARICOM heads meeting in St. Christopher and Nevis. Jamaica Prime Minister announces creation of dedicated Ministry of Defense, and bomb threat targets Australian Prime Minister over Chinese dance troupe. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 25th day of February. I am Jasmine Thomas, and we do apologize for the lateness in the start of the major news. First, on the local scene, history was made last evening as all heads of government from full member states of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, gathered for the opening of the 50th regular meeting in St. Christopher and Nevis. It marks the first time in more than 10 years that every leader has convened in a single location. Chairman of CARICOM and the Prime Minister of St. Christopher and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, described the moment as both symbolic and substantive amid current global and regional challenges. Dr. Drew noted that despite criticism and uncertainty, the full attendance of leaders sends a strong signal of unity and commitment to the regional integration movement. In the weeks leading up to the meeting, their Prime Minister held face-to-face bilateral engagements across the region to strengthen consensus on key priorities. High-level discussions continue through February 27, with focus on food and energy security, climate resilience, regional security, digital transformation, and trade. Meanwhile, Dr. Drew says that CARICOM remains key to regional advancement. Delivering the feature address at the 50th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM, Prime Minister Drew emphasized that the Caribbean region, a region emerging out of an existing within complex historical and discriminatory systems, has survived due to collaboration and strong regional organizations created by CARICOM.
Many of our states could not have achieved what togetherness has made possible. Through CARICOM, we strengthened regional public health surveillance and coordinated response. Through RSS, Regional Security System, we enhanced collective security operations. Through CISEC, we harmonized educational standards and expanded opportunity for all of our people, especially our young people. Through the Caribbean Development Bank, we secured development financing and technical support that strengthened infrastructure and social investment across our region. By ourselves, these achievements would have remained aspirations only, but through togetherness, they became reality.
These organizations, he said, have turned regional aspirations into reality in areas such as security, education, public health, finance, and social investment. Emphasizing that togetherness generates resilience, Dr. Drew pointed to spiritual and religious movements, music, literature, culture, sports, and political movements that have had global resonance as creations from the CARICOM region.
Connectivity must move from aspiration to implementation. It must not be easier to travel beyond our region than within it. Therefore, we must strengthen air and sea links, improve port efficiency, and digitize custom systems that serve our purpose. Connectivity is the infrastructure of togetherness. It allows trade, culture, and opportunity to circulate freely within our shared Caribbean space. In the same spirit, energy security, as was mentioned by our dear President from Suriname, energy security demands coordinated ambition. Our dependence on imported fossil fuels exposes us to volatility and drains precious foreign exchange.
A successful CARICOM, Prime Minister Drew said, must create a plan for the future based on regional food security, connectivity, expanded trade, safety, improved health systems, reduced dependence on fossil fuels, collaboration, climate action, and technological advancement.
while strengthening resilience at home. Climate action rooted in togetherness safeguards our shared future. The Caribbean is disproportionately affected negatively by the scourge of climate change, and we must never relent to advocate for ourselves on the international stage. I want to say, as I wrap up this final one, technological advancement. This will define the next generation of Caribbean development. Digital transformation strengthens governance, education, commerce, and security. Initiatives such as expanded digital education, these offerings from our fellow CARICOM country of Guyana, illustrate how innovation can widen access and empower our youth.
Dr. Drew reiterated the theme of the conference, Beyond Words, Action Today for a Thriving, Sustainable CARICOM, stressing that it must be one remembered for action, for execution, and for collective advancement of CARICOM citizens. And on Tuesday, during the opening of the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett called for stronger regional integration as the community navigates a shifting global landscape. Advancing the CARICOM single market and the economy was pointed to as a practical gain, already driving greater economic activity and deeper people-to-people ties across member states. A clear message was delivered. Where interests align, the region must act together, especially as new markets emerge and strategic partnerships evolve.
We must continue to act together where our interests align, which, in fact, is far more often than it is sometimes made to appear. At the same time, the shifting global order presents tangible opportunity as new markets emerge, strategic partnerships are recalibrated. CARICOM must engage extra-regionally with intention and with coherence by articulating our shared priorities in such areas as energy transition, digital infrastructure, building resilience to climate change and technology.
Engagement outside the region was urged with intention and coherence, with priority areas including the energy transition, digital infrastructure, climate resilience, and technology. The case was also made for a more coordinated foreign policy to reduce vulnerability to external shocks that no single member state can withstand alone.
A coordinated foreign policy reduces our vulnerability to the inevitable external shocks which no member state can effectively absorb alone. The high number of third states that have pledged their commitment to increase engagement with the community, many of which are represented here today, demonstrates that cooperation and credibility can be transformed into new opportunities for growth, resilience, and shared prosperity.
International attendance at the meeting was highlighted as proof of growing global interest in CARICOM, including a welcome for Dr. George Elambeng of Afrix Bank, seen as a signal of deepening South-South cooperation, including with the African Union. The successful second CARICOM Africa Summit held last year was also referenced, with continued collaboration flagged in finance, development, reparations advocacy, air connectivity, and cultural exchange.
Successful second CARICOM Africa Summit was held last year, and we are committed to continuing to deepen our engagement in such areas as finance and development, advocacy for reparations, air connectivity, and cultural exchanges.
Special guests at the opening included Saudi Arabia's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and climate envoy Adel bin Ahmed Al Jaber, UAE Minister of State Noura bin Mohammed Al Kabi, and Commonwealth Secretary General Shirley Botchway. Leaders were reminded that progress has been made in human and social development, security cooperation, foreign policy coordination, and economic growth, but citizens now expect delivery on commitments under the Treaty of Shagiramas.
CARICOM citizens from every walk of life, in every corner of our community, are looking to us to fulfill the commitment we made as signatories to the Treaty of Chaguaramas. Akwanje, Sobian, and all the young people represented tonight embody the hope and promise of our region. They are the reminders that our solemn duty is to move, as the theme for this meeting urges, beyond words to action for a sustainable, thriving CARICOM.
They challenge for this 50th regular meeting move decisively beyond words to action for a sustainable and thriving CARICOM. We now take a look at news on the regional scene. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced the creation of a dedicated Ministry of Defense to strengthen national security and disaster response. The new ministry will operate within the Office of the Prime Minister and will directly administer the Jamaica Defense Force, which was previously under the Ministry of National Security. Prime Minister Holness said the restructuring was initiated during Hurricane Melissa to improve speed, clarity, and effectiveness in decision-making. The move also relocates the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management into the Prime Minister's office to align defense and disaster response operations. The government says it will also invest in strengthening the JDFS maritime and airlift capabilities. And the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is monitoring global reports of the Nipah virus, which health officials say the Caribbean remains at low risk. The Ministry of Health confirmed there are no confirmed or suspected cases in the country, but surveillance and preparedness efforts remain in place. The Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARICOM, also notes the likelihood of spread in the region is minimal, but urges continued vigilance due to global travel. Health officials remind the travelers to exercise caution, particularly if visiting or returning from countries with outbreaks, and to seek medical attention if symptoms like fever, coughing, or neurological issues occur. Preparations across the region, including strong surveillance and lab capacity, are considered essential to respond quickly should the virus be introduced. National scene, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was evacuated from his official residence after a bomb threat linked to the Chinese dance and music group Shen Yun. The threat, sent via email, warned that explosives had been placed around the Prime Minister's lodge if the troupe proceeded with their Australian performances. Authorities confirmed they responded to an alleged security incident at the residence but found nothing suspicious. Shen Yun, founded by the religious movement Falun Gong, which is banned in China, said they would continue their performances and called for a full investigation by the Australian government. Albanese thanked police and citizens for their support, stressing the need to lower the temperature of political debate and to take all security threats seriously. Japan announced plans to deploy surface-to-air missiles on Yonaguni Island, its remote western outpost near Taiwan, within the next 5 years. Defense Minister Shinjiro Kozumi said the unit will be equipped with medium-range missiles capable of intercepting aircraft and other projectiles with 360-degree tracking and multiple target engagement. Yonaguni is just 110 kilometers from Taiwan, visible on clear days, and Japan has been strengthened the island as a military outpost over the past decade. The move comes amid heightened tensions with China, which claims Taiwan as its own territory and follows export curbs and other pressure measures by Beijing against Tokyo. Prime Minister Sane's landslide election victory earlier this month has given Japan political space to boost defense capabilities, signaling a more assertive posture in the region. The missile deployment timeline is targeted for fiscal year 2031, but Japan says it may adjust the date based on future facility improvements. We now take a look at the weather. At present, weather across St. Kitts and Nevis, partly cloudy with slight dust haze. Winds are moderate breeze of 16 miles per hour from the east. Seas are 1.5 to 2.1 meters or 5 to 7 feet. Small craft advisory remains in effect. Weather today partly sunny with a 40% chance of a brief passing morning shower. Weather tonight fair to partly cloudy with a 60% chance of a brief passing shower, mainly after midnight. Sunrise tomorrow is expected to be at about 6:30 and the sunset today at around 6:15. That brings us to the end of the Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. God bless you.